Morning, guys. Okay, working on this. What is it? Briggs and Stratton P2000 Power Smart generator. It has a Briggs and Stratton engine in it, and it's made by Briggs and Stratton. So basically, this thing was running. We were actively using it, and it sort of just sputtered and shut off. It wasn't running really well for the last probably 2 weeks, and we've been using it almost every other day. Just like sometimes it would surge and sometimes it just sounded like it would almost fail and then it would come back and when you need power it would take a second for it to rev up because it's got the this intelligent, or what's it called, power smart mode. Basically revs up the engine with a little motor here, little servo motor on the carb. But anyway, narrowed it down to it's the fuel pump. So there's a fuel pump that kind of rests in here, and it pumps fuel from the tank, obviously, into the carburetor. Because the tank is actually, depending on where the fuel level is in the tank, is actually below the carburetor. So that was kind of the telltale sign for the most part that it was the fuel pump. Because when you'd have a full tank, it would run pretty well, and then once it'd get down to about half a tank, which, so this cover, just two bolts, take that off. Carburetor's right here. So the sort of quarter or three-quarter level of the tank is about there. So it would get to here and you'd be level with your float and your bowl, and there wouldn't be gravity pushing the fuel through. So it would quit at that point, and then we'd fill back up and it would start again. So pretty confident it's the fuel pump. I had to order this part from Amazon. It's a Briggs and Stratton fuel pump 808656, and there's it's actually a Mikuni pump, so it's Mikuni, no part number on there. Oh yeah, here we go. 808492. Yeah, so different than the Briggs and Stratton number. Anyway, so that's the pump that's in there. We're going to replace that today. So yeah, the pump didn't come right away, but we needed this generator. So I just took the line off of the carburetor and put like a little IV bottle. And that was keeping me going. But yeah, we're gonna replace that because it runs a lot better with the fuel pump. Even with the little IV bottle I had, it didn't have just the gravity from here to there, like less than a psi, wasn't enough to keep it running smoothly. So it definitely needs a functioning fuel pump. So I'll show you once we get into it. One more thing you can check if you have another piece of machinery with this type of impulse fuel pump, and we'll kind of talk about how it works and that type of thing. So let's get into it. Okay, so I already took the on-off switch off. So usually there's a red cover over this, but we don't know where ours is. So we just, you pop the little red cover off, and there's a Phillips screw in there. You unscrew that, and then the switch will pop right off. I would probably, before you pull it off, turn it to the, oh, it is. It's in the off position. So it's out. It actually came off like that. So that's on. That's off because it does two things. It turns this knob, which is actually your fuel shutoff valve, and not that it matters for this, but when you turn this as well, there's a little switch here, and that's what actually shuts your motor off, cuts the power. So I just put it in that position there in the off so that the fuel isn't trying to flow through from the tank as we replace the fuel pump, so it's a little less messy. So yeah, remove that, and I guess the next step, we have to take this kind of housing off, and the way you do that is you start with these 4 bolts or screws right here. So there's 4 Phillips screws in these holes. Long ones go in the bottom, short ones go on the top. Okay, so there's one. Get my light on here. Get it in there. There's one screw right there, Phillips, you got to remove because it's holding the case. And you'll see there's one at the back similar. And it always falls down. So a magnet. So that's what it looks like right there. Just a Phillips sort of wood screw. Okay, so the next, probably easiest step is put that back like that for a sec. So you got to take the sort of handle off. So there's 4 screws right here, 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 big Phillips. So like that. And then pull it out like that. Okay, so then the back. There's 4 Phillips right here. Just pops off. Okay, and there's 2 of those screws, but you only need to remove 1 right here. Okay, and oh yeah, you're gonna probably want to remove this screw to let the cord go through. Machine screw. Okay, so now the rest, what it's holding the plastic on now is just some kind of tabs that stick up like this. And I think that's it, so we'll kind of just work it off. Okay, and it'll only come so far because there's fuel line hoses attached to it. So I'll get you in there. So if you see in there, first thing we want to do is just kind of move. There's a little band right there. We're just gonna, it's a steel band with rubber wrapped around it. We're gonna move that away and it'll allow you to move this back a bit. So that gives you a little bit more room. And if you look, there's the fuel pump right there. So we'll do that. That's the fuel pump. It's a different color. Mine's the new one's black, this one's silver. Or gray, whatever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to do this the easiest way possible and just minimize the amount of lines we have to remove. Yeah, we'll get into that here. Let's take this air cover off. Let's throw some gloves on. Filter. 8mm socket. Two washers. And oh, there's also an 8mm bolt right here. Screws right into the side of the engine. Okay, and that just pulls right off. Well, not right off, just up to the way. Okay, so in there, see, this is the fuel line. I guess I did put it back on, but this is the fuel line that comes from the pump. Okay, so when I did that little IV bottle, I just literally took that off and put the IV bottle onto that. But that goes to the outlet of our pump. So put that there. Actually, I'll take that off so we have some more room to work. And then this comes back a little bit further. Pull our cord. There we go. Okay, so that gives us a little bit more room to work. There's the pump. So make sure everything's the same. It's a different color, but whatever. So this is our pulse line. So yeah, the way these work is this is a pulse line, and it basically takes gas when the engine is running and pumps. That's how it pumps the fuel, with the diaphragm pumps the fuel. So let's put that on. And so like if you want to actually diagnose that it is the fuel pump, you do want to make sure that there's no holes in this line. Everything's okay with regard to that. And honestly, the easiest way to check this, I'm not going to do it now because it could cause a little bit more of a mess than I want to deal with right now. But you just put this line above the height of the tank and just yank the cord a couple times, and you should see a fair amount of fuel pumping out of this. If it's kind of slowly dribbling out like it was when I tested it, it's definitely the fuel pump. So make sure you have gas, obviously, but in this case, this is definitely what's wrong. One. Oh yeah, another thing I should mention, your fuel tubing routing may look a little different because I changed this from factory. So if you see on mine, I've got this boat tank spout here so that I can adapt it to like a boat tank and run off of that instead of the fuel tank in here. But all it is just teed in right there. But yours will come right from the tank right here, and this line will have gone to there. Or sorry, will have gone to the inlet of the pump. Okay, so we're just going to move this. This is the fuel shut-off valve. Gotta move it to get this off. Just take this right out. Okay, get that off. There you go. Okay, so we're going to put our new fuel pump back into its place there, which will be about there. Make sure this goes on. Put our pulse line on after, and I'm going to pinch this off just so that fuel squirting thing doesn't happen again. And put our pulse line back on. Okay, so then I'm just gonna put, so yeah, this is the tab I was talking about. We're just gonna wrap this tab around this tube once I get everything in place. And the assembly is just the reverse. So I'll do like a sped up video of the assembly, but yeah, that should fix the problem. We'll do a quick, once I get it together, we'll start it up, make sure it runs.